Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is our last show before Christmas comes, so wishing everybody a very merry holiday, Christmas. And I have a special guest again today, which is my husband, Steve. I do say special because he's special to me. Hi, Steve.
Thank you. I think it's a special admiration society.
Okay.
And
we're celebrating today.
Yes, as a matter of fact, why don't we toast to our first anniversary?
Which is today. It just happened to, oh, wow. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, I ran out of it. Oh my gosh, 1 year ago.
Just drink it from the bottle.
No, I don't think so. 1 year ago. Oh my goodness, how time flies, right?
Yeah.
I think you've learned a lot over the last year about me, Steve.
Yeah, I certainly have.
Yeah, we've had some great validation of what's going on.
Yes. And in that year, and before that, I've become your biggest fan.
Which is great.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
So I would like to read again one of your pieces of prose from your first book, and it's called What Does Future Hold?
Appropriate.
We can but think what lies ahead. We can but dream what lies beyond. All that is will be. Think about the wonders of life, the miracles that are ahead. Give thanks to the now. We hold such power, please let it be. Do not complicate what is so simple. Watch the birds fly, watch the clouds form. Give thanks to nature, it is so simple. Please understand, you are always were, what you always were. Give joy to the world, sing and dance with laughter, and you bring forth happiness to the people. Do know, don't wait. You are blessed with knowledge. Remind yourself with each and every day that you will find truth. This is a promise, you will see. Thank you for this day. Thank you for all this knowledge, Zena.
Well, thank you, Steve. It's funny that you know, I've never actually, and I think I said this the last time you read something, I've never actually heard anybody read my prose, since at the time when I was writing it, I had no idea what I was even writing. It was just coming to me the same way as my art. That was very appropriate. Thank you for picking that out. Yeah. We don't know we do know what lies ahead, but we don't know that we know what lies ahead. And that's the key to the whole thing here.
It's just like we didn't know what lies ahead when we first met almost 2 years ago.
Exactly.
For the third time.
Right, yeah. Well, just to let our viewers know, we had known each other for many years, but our paths kept crossing, and I guess they were trying to tell us, you guys need to be together. The timing wasn't appropriate at the time we met, but it certainly is now. So that's life.
So this third and very blessed time that we met and fell in love and are now married, why don't we start from the very beginning of the sequence back in February of 22 when I first called you. I don't know if you recall the entire situation there. Could you tell the audience exactly what was going through your mind at the time?
And it all started then, actually, but I didn't realize, but we were definitely meant to be together, because prior to you calling me, as everybody thinks, I had been single for quite a while, that for some reason I was going to meet someone that was going to take me to a deli. I don't know why. It could have been the south of France, it could have been England, back to my hometown, but no, it was going to be a deli, and I'd had this premonition, and I totally kind of put it out of my mind. You called me, and then you asked me if I wanted to meet you in a deli. So I don't know how that happened, but it happened. So it made me think, well, oh, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying it. You were the one, although we had known each other prior to that. So that was my validation. I wonder if anybody in the audience has anything similar happen to them, or a question that they might want to ask us. Either Steve or I. He's getting very familiar with what I do now, so maybe you can answer the questions too.
I think your psychic powers have rubbed off on me
They certainly have.
substantially.
Yep.
Sally, I got a question.
Yes.
I think that the theme today is about
Find your soulmate.
soulmate,
Soulmates.
soulmates. How do you define a soulmate versus just falling in love with somebody?
That's actually, I believe that Steve could probably answer this better than me, because you were asked this a little while ago. A soulmate is a connection that I believe that we had before we arrived on this planet. And there are many aspects to that. But when you feel comfortable with someone, as I do with Steve, it happened basically shortly after we met this time. Things were happening that I could read your mind or you could read mine. Does that classify necessarily a soulmate? No. But it's many things that keep happening and that are unexplainable. And I believe that there is a connection that is beyond what we are here. As they say, it's a soulmate. It's hard to, you know what, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Okay. Well, as you started to say, it could have been from before we were on this planet. I'll take it more, into the now, or sort of the now, when we're on this planet and previous lives. I think people have been brought together throughout time, and in their next existence, the spirits try to bring them together again. And you can go through many different times in your lifetimes, and finally one might click that you're absolutely supposed to be together. Just like in this lifetime, we were brought together 3 different times.
Yes, we were. And as I had said before, I think it's all about timing. Right. We're not always aware of the timing. We don't pick it up on the first time it happens. It will happen again if it's meant to be. We will be in a certain place, maybe we'll bump into each other, which actually kind of happened in a way. And then even if we don't take that up, it'll happen again. It'll keep showing itself to us. And
one might think that they have found their soulmate, and that's all well and good, whether it's your soulmate or not. If you feel that strongly about the relationship, go with that. But I think that to find your actual soulmate is a little more involved than just falling in love and saying, this is my soulmate.
I agree with you. Does that kind of answer your question a little bit, Freddie?
Well, there's a part 2 to the question. Okay. I guess we all have guides, correct?
Correct.
So I was always under the impression that in this case, Steve's guides and your guides merged and talked to one another.
Interesting.
And that to me is what separates just being in love to sharing a special bond and being a soulmate.
I have to tell you, right this second, I'm getting, and people know I get my goosebumps. Yes, absolutely. I feel that you're absolutely right on that. It's the same as here. He has his guides, you have yours. We all have guides, not just one, several, but we do have a main guide, I believe. And they try as best they can to communicate with us, and they can, if they communicate, of course, they can make this happen, but it's still up to us. We still have to go, which I often say, with our instinct, with our gut, with what we need to know. But those messages are coming from them. I love that question. I think they got together, absolutely. And it must be frustrating for them. They're trying to put us together and it doesn't work, so they try again. I mean, I'm sorry guys, we do the best that we can to hear you, but it doesn't always work.
But it changes your approach towards one another.
Yes, it does. Because it's kind of simple in a way. If we say no to something, but it's meant to be, we may not recognize it, but maybe a year or 2 later, that same scenario, it may have it could be a different scenario, but it's the same theme, so to speak. It'll happen again. It's up to us. It's still ultimately up to us maybe we recognize, you say, well, something similar happened a few years ago, not necessarily even a soulmate, of a situation. And then it will resurface and show itself again. It's really important to listen to this if we can. Not everybody even maybe believes it, but when you're beginning to take this journey, listen. And I write a prose about that, to listen. And it's your gut instinct to do something, do it. If it doesn't work, okay, but you know what? It might. Referring to anything, not just necessarily a soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
Sally and Steve, you have a phone call. Frank is on the phone.
Who?
Frank.
Oh.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, just calling in to wish happy anniversary.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much, Frank. Thank you.
We hope Chris is well.
And happy.
Yeah, she's hanging in.
Good. I was just going to say that. A happy, very Merry Christmas to you guys, and hope to see you soon in the studio, both of you.
Yeah, I will be I will be there on Wednesday.
Okay,
So,
we'll definitely
so
try to make it.
hope to see you guys. If not, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, and same to you and your wife. Look forward to it.
Will do. Take care.
Bye. Thank you for calling in, Frank.
That was nice of Frank. to
Yes,
call.
it was
Bye-bye.
very nice. Yes.
And Linda says, I'm sending you both all my love on this special day.
Thank you. Thank you. See what the Airways does? It brings everybody together. This is unique. This is beautiful in the cafe here. We're hearing from people.
And if you'd like to call in like Frank just did, call 888-994-4995, Studio A. Or if you're watching live on Facebook, you can type a message in the message box and we will get to your question if you have one.
Okay, anybody else in the audience that would like Dawn, Freddie, Margaret, my friends? Anything you'd like
When
to
you
know?
reconnected with Steve almost 2 years ago, did you know this was it?
I did. I had known him over the years, as we have talked about, but this time, yes, because you know what? I got this message about a deli, and our first date was in a deli. So I said, oh my gosh, that's a very, very good indication, because I said to myself, I've been saying I want to meet someone and I want to go to a deli. And I mean, I could have said anywhere, but I said a deli, and there we were, sitting in a deli on our first date.
You might want to tell people that I've taken you to nicer places
Oh,
in
yes,
Delhi.
yes, we did
Okay.
last night. We went for our anniversary, our first anniversary. We had a lovely meal. Thank you, Steve. Not just the deli, but there's nothing wrong with the deli either.
Yeah. But, you know, it was a series of events, you know, leading up to the deli and after the deli and leading up to my proposal of marriage in a very unique way in a jewelry store in Key West. That you're just, everything that we've done has seemed to have been done in a perfect way, a way that was natural and seemed like it was destined to be that way.
And you know, that's beautiful, and I'm so glad that we experienced it. It's a good message for our viewers, because we're on the latter part of our life. It's pretty obvious. Look at us, okay? But just to say, there is no age limit of when you can actually find a soulmate and fall in love. It could be in your 20s, or it could go on and on and on. There is no limit to the age that you can do this. So never give up. That's my message, I think, and that's a good thing for the show today. Never, if there are viewers out there that's saying, oh, I don't know, I'm never going to find someone, don't say that. Say, I think I'm going to find somebody. Even put a time limit on it. Ask, because there is no time on the other side. So if you're wanting to find someone, and most people like even the latter part of their life to have friendship, even to have somebody in your life, just say, you know, I am ready and I'm open to anything. And be open to it. I think you'll find that something may just happen. Yeah. Cupid's up there.
Taking that just one step further, if you're looking for someone, you might never find them. But look for the signs that tell you that someone you've met is right. Like what happened with us. We were brought together 3 different times.
Yes, we were, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it was over a period of time. It wasn't like once and then the second date or something could have been a month later. It was over a long period of time.
Right. And, you know,
I believe our story is important for our viewers.
You know, when you met me for this 3rd time and this wonderful time, you were not looking for me or anyone. You were happy in your singleness, your solitude, so to speak. Not that you were had solitude. I mean, you had a circle of friends, but you were not looking. You would have been just as happy, I think, not venturing into a relationship.
Well, I think that's the key, and I know this is a psychic show, and I'm happy to give messages, but you know what? You have to be happy within yourself. If you're not at that point, and it's hard, it's not easy, but accept yourself, even the flaws that you have, but feel content. And I believe that if you're open to that, somebody will come into your life. So I'm going to turn this around just a little bit so that maybe we have some viewers that might want to ask questions. It could be about love, it could be about anything. But today was a good day to talk about love because it is our first year anniversary. So anybody or anyone in the audience that'd like to ask me a question, maybe I can tell you your future.
Well, Sally, I think it goes beyond love. I think that maybe there's been voids in each other's spirit that it seems like the two of you have filled. Does that make even any kind of sense?
The two of us, like can you just
The two of you fill a void that each one of you have had when you walked into this relationship.
Yes. And when you're open and ready for that, you're going to recognize more things within yourself. That's what's coming to me, and that's what they're telling me. We can say we're looking and we can search. But you know what? We have to see ourselves first too. Put out your needs maybe, even if you want to. We can't change anybody. But the key to this, and they're telling me this, and I see it very clearly, we can change ourselves. So maybe we repeat certain things, but if you're open to what we're repeating and it's just not working for you, say to yourself, I feel that I need to change this about me. It's not always the other person. But when you do that, that person who is out there could also be waiting for that change within you. And when that happens, I feel that you have more of a connection for somebody to come in your life. I have no idea how I got that, but they're just telling me. Does that make sense?
Of course it makes sense. Everything you say makes sense.
I know, but that's a guide that's telling me. That's the guide. He always says, does that make sense? Does that make sense to the audience too?
It makes sense.
Good. Thank you. I just want the validation. They want the validation, not necessarily me.
And there's no time frame for finding this kind of magic.
No time frame at all, and that's also very, very important. You can find it in your teenage years. You can find it in your 80s. I also want to say, because when we went for a marriage license, there was someone that applied who was 90. Do you remember that? So you can find it in your 90s too. Never, ever give up.
Wasn't the woman 20? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Steve.
Oh. Somebody mentioned before, or asked the question, do you suppose that our guides brought us together? I know certain things happened that might suggest that on your side, with Aldo, and Aldo having stepped aside, if you will. He passed away, but when did he pass away? On my
your
birthday of
birthday.
2021, and just a few short months after that is when we connected. My guides, although I continually talk to them, they have not necessarily made themselves known to me in a way that I can recognize.
I know you think that, but my first indication of what I'm hearing is they have made themselves known, and you are aware of it because you're following certain things that maybe you wouldn't have done a little while ago. So it's like they're talking to you. The fact that we have so much validation, Steve, they want to make their presence known because I'm going to say because they have access to more of our life than we actually do, and we don't have to follow it. They are doing that for you. I feel that very strongly. Yes, absolutely.
And that's more than likely absolutely true because although I've not been a bad person in my life, at this point in time in my life, in our relationship, I'm nicer, kinder than I've ever been. And it's not that you hold a gun to my head and say that I should. I have this true desire to be the man that I am with you.
I'm sorry to laugh, but I love that you're saying that, because we also need to recognize our faults. And I've had many, as everybody has. But when you start to recognize that, you're starting your journey. It doesn't all happen at once that we suddenly change. But the fact that sometimes we want to change, just knowing that we can, and we're looking at it from a different point of view, I believe that they help us with that. Absolutely. We're told many times and we don't always listen, but you've been very open to that. Yes, absolutely. You're changing. I mean, I don't know, because I didn't know you that well all those years ago, but it's working.
You've heard the stories.
Yes.
But is it feeling more confident with one another, or trusting that you can't even see?
I think it's trusting, Freddie. I often say, if you believe, you have to believe that there's something, I'm going to say a higher power. It doesn't matter what we call our higher power, that knows what's going on. I'm not going to take God, I'm not turning this into a religious show, but we have a higher power, be it whatever it is. And they are here because they have, let's say they have more access to our lives than we have, because we're very limited here on earth. We choose our lives, but we're not always open to see what capabilities or what we're able to do, because we're kind of closed-minded here. But once you start to begin to open up to what the things that maybe you want to do, and we are our own worst enemy many times. I can't sing, and I admit that. But I'm practicing now in the car by myself, and I'm beginning to have a little voice that I never had in singing. But that applies to things that are far more maybe relevant, that we need to know that we can actually do anything. But the key to that is you have to believe that you can do anything. If you keep continually saying, I can't do that, or this is not working out for me, why is this always happening to me? That's what they hear too. They try to show us something, and it's something good, but we automatically say, oh, that's not for me, I can't do that. Let's change our life around a little bit and say to ourselves, you know what, maybe I can. Maybe I'm being guided. There's nothing wrong with being guided, especially for someone that knows a little more of what we chose for our lifetime, and I believe that too, but they know what we chose for this lifetime. So let's say, okay, guys, show me, put something there. You've seen that happen. Mm-hmm. Give me a message. Listen. It's so important to listen.
Mindy writes in, she says, there are no accidents. It's the love that makes you change.
Absolutely, 100%. Hi, Mindy. You are so correct. And we've taught, Mindy is a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. And yes, love is the key. Love is the answer. But love is not just love. Love is so many things. We have love. Without love, it's hard. So let's try also right now with this world that's going on to love one another. Yeah, we say that. There's songs about that. But it's really important. Let's love one another. Thank you, Mindy.
A message to our listeners, a disclaimer, if you will. I don't want anyone thinking that if you feel that you don't have what Sally and I are telling you that we have, if you don't have that in your life, don't look to get out of that relationship. Look for the signs that might bring you to the plateau that we are at.
Thank you. That was good. And I mean, we're, again, I'm going to say the latter part of our life. And this was very unexpected to me and for you. So why does that can happen to anybody? But leave yourself open to maybe you don't want a relationship, and that's fine too. If you're happy with yourself, sometimes that's fine. We have good friends, but leave yourself open to things that you might want, and then say to yourself, well, how do I go about that? No matter how small or how big. But follow your dream. That's what I'm hearing. I see that right across in my mind. Follow your dream. You're never too old to dream. They're telling me that very clearly. You are never too old to dream. If you dream, it can and will, if you believe it, come reality.
Well, the interesting aspect is, again, you could love someone or you could be in love with someone, and there is two different worlds to that. So if you find that your guys is talking to one another, that's one thing. You can love somebody dearly, but not be in love with them. because that mixture is not there. I mean, I think that's the biggest difference, no?
Yes, absolutely it is. And I think the key to this too is respect. Respect is, and they're telling me that too, respect is very important. You can respect someone greatly. You don't have to be in love with that person, but you love that person for what they're telling you because you respect them. I think the key to that is you can't, when we say love, it's so many different things. Again, you can't love everybody in the same way. That's what I'm wanting to say. You love people for different reasons. You love them for whatever it is. It could even be their personality. You love being around them because you love their personality. You can love them as a lover. You can love them for being that they care about other people. It doesn't necessarily have to be just you that they care about. You can love somebody for that. Love is love is love, no matter how you look at it. If it gives you that warm, beautiful feeling, that's love.
But Freddie, I agree with what you said. There is a difference, in my opinion, between actual love and being in love. I think many relationships have gone astray because one or the other says to themselves, well, I love her or I love him, but I'm not in love. And then it makes them go looking for some other thing that they think they could be in love with again. I think it goes hand in hand. It's one and the same in a relationship. You can't be in a relationship and not continue to be in love with your partner. So it's very important that you try to do whatever you can to keep that love growing and being in love at all times.
And love is different for everybody. You know, you can love people for their personality, for whatever it is. Everybody is different, but when you feel that, it's a connection. Mm-hmm. Love is a connection between two people. And it varies between everybody, correct, really? And it's up to us to see that. If you love being around somebody, you're loving being around them. If you don't want to be around them, then don't be around them. It's a feeling. Love is a feeling, I think. That's what they're telling me. It's a feeling.
But the feeling doesn't grow unless you continue to be in love.
This is true, and I see that too, but everybody has a different slant on that, you know. You may love my artwork. I just throwing that out there. And I appreciate the fact that you love my artwork. Somebody else may say it may not be their style, but I can still maybe love them. It's very open-ended. They're telling me I'm getting them confused.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is you can be in love with many different things.
Yes.
From artwork, you can be in love. You can love people as friends, as relatives.
Right.
But for that one special relationship, you have to be definitely in love.
In love. You have to have both sides of that coin,
Right.
so to speak. If you don't have both, then it's probably not the person. But when you feel comfortable, you just know it. You kind of know it. It's hard to really explain that.
So as we grew as a couple before we decided to get married, did you have conversations with your collective of people and spirits to give you advice as to whether or not you were making the right moves?
Well, I really didn't have to, because Aldo's been around me all the time that I've known you, and he'll send me little subtle messages all the time, actually. As you know, Aldo was my guide, for people that don't know. And he passed, and he still continues to send us messages. So yes, I am aware of that. They have been talking to me, but then, you know, this is what I truly believe. So they know that they can communicate with me as I can give messages, because it's like you send a little radar out that I can do this, so they will let me know, and they'll give me messages for other people too. So let's see if there's anybody else here that may have a message for either Steve or I.
Commercial.
Oh, we're going to break for a commercial. And then I'll see you on the other side of the commercial, which is in 3 minutes. Thank you. This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybernard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hi, we're back. We're open to any questions, anybody that wants to call in or anyone in the studio.
So
I'm
Mindy
here.
wrote in, there's a different type of love when you're in love. It includes chemistry, among other things.
Okay, who is
Mindy.
this?
Mindy.
Hi, yeah, Mindy, yes, it does. You know, if you can have the whole thing, that's great. But you start off with one and that leads to another. It's a feeling. It's so hard to describe that feeling. But if you feel comfortable with someone, you know, the infatuation of somebody, that's great to start off with. But that leaves, as we all know, after many months or however long it takes. But if you have other things in common, that builds. Each one builds upon each scenario. It's so hard to describe love because love is different for so many people, but the caring of another individual, the wanting to be with somebody, the magic wears off, and I'm absolutely certain about that. I'm not saying that about us, but please, that's a disclaimer.
We'll discuss that
But
later.
within time, you know, it does. It's not the same. You don't open the door and say, oh, this is great, you're here, because you expect somebody to be there. But there are other things that keep the glue together. And that's very, very important. You can learn from one another too. That's also very important.
I wanted to ask Steve if the male perspective towards this subject is different than a female's, because men are normally not as in touch or admittedly in touch with their feelings.
I think you're correct. I mean, you know, I can only give my point of view, but a female has more of many things that maybe a male may overlook and think it's not that important, but vice versa too. What is important for a male, for a female may be slightly different. But when the two connect and you talk, communication is very important. Communication. I think there are different ways of looking a male and a female at something. Not everything, but certain things.
Freddie, I'll answer your question, which was to me, I think,
From a male point of view, right?
and that is, it takes time for males to feel differently than they did throughout their lives. Males in growing up have influences. They're influenced by their father, their brother, their uncle, you know, and it takes time to digest all of these feelings and put them into perspective. So when you get to be older, I think you've reached the time where you can take all these feelings and not be separate from the feelings a woman might have. And this is what makes Sally's and my bond as strong as it is we don't have separate feelings. We feel exactly the same way about each other. And that might not have been the case earlier in my life. So I think with age comes wisdom, and it also brings more emotion to the table.
Is it important to be able to interpret that, Steve? Because what you're saying is very powerful. Is it important to be able to interpret that on Sally's part, that she understands exactly what you're talking about? Is that the difference between it working and it sort of not kind of working?
Yeah.
Well, Sally has told me on numerous occasions that she was not used to some of the things that I do, that I provide. The common courtesy of opening a car door, or just the general niceness. In the past, relationships have been, okay, I'm man, you're woman, I'll do my thing, you'll do your thing, and we'll try and get through life together.
Communication, though, open communication between two people, no matter what it is. If you dislike something, I think it's very important to talk about it. That communication saves it from festering into something. I was not always that way. I kept a lot within me, and I'd keep it in with me, and maybe 2 or 3 months later I might explode over something that might have not been that bad because I had been thinking about it. This is just me. But I do believe that open communication is very, very important between two people. Not just even a husband and wife, with anything. You need to voice your own opinion without arguing, to keep at a certain level. Talk it out. I mean, here, I'm not really a relationship person, but I feel that they're telling me that. I mean, I'm giving these messages, as you are too, but I feel that I'm being helped with this.
I think it's also very, very important to keep that fire going. And when either of us come home to each other, we're very thrilled that we came home. When I'll come home from a business trip, I'll walk in and I'll say, "Lucy, I'm home," and we're just very happy, and that happiness just continues throughout our existence. We are never unhappy.
So to bring that more into maybe a spiritual psychic, because this is what I feel that maybe I should be talking about, again, go with what you feel you might want to do for somebody. It's never too stupid, it's never too much. Just go with your gut, because I guess that's how I say I guess because I do feel this, but that's how they can communicate with us. Say that I suddenly wanted to buy you some flowers, because there's nothing wrong with a woman buying a man flowers, right? I
prefer chocolate.
Oh, chocolate. Okay, I'll go past and I'll drive and I'll find that there will be a chocolate or a flower shop there. Follow your instincts.
Mm-hmm. And to take that even one step further, you will find that when you are in love, the instincts become natural. And you do these things because you are in love with somebody.
Okay, that's good.
And Steve, you said look for the signs. When you and Sally got back together this time around, what signs did you see that you knew this was different?
That's a great question and a beautiful one to answer. We had so many signs, didn't we, Steve?
We did.
So many to show us that we were on the right track. We probably had them maybe when we first met, but it wasn't our timing. So we didn't get together. But this time around, even how you found me without going into the whole scenario, if we told somebody this, they'll say, how did that happen? It's so many things that you stop and think, even maybe not right away, but into the relationship. We were definitely, as far as the best that I know, we were led to one another, definitely.
Yeah. Over the years, since Sally and I know each other almost 24 years ago, there would come a time where I would think of Sally in the friendship that we had and want to just check in with her and see what was going on with her life. And I might have given her a phone call, just a friendly phone call. And that continued over the years, not every week, not every month, maybe not even every year. But Sally remained as a part of my psyche, that this is somebody that I need to stay in communication with. And that was probably my guides telling me, you know, this is someone you need to stay with because at some point you're going to be ready for one another.
And I feel like I want to give this to our viewers too. For anybody that's listening to this, think about this. Think that maybe you might be thinking about somebody, they may call you at that particular time when you're thinking about it. You will be given signs. There are people out there that may be listening right now over the airways that's saying they would love to hear from somebody. Okay, that might sound crazy. Think about that person, and if they are open to that, maybe they might just call you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting anecdote that might have suggested that Sally and I could have gotten together maybe 3 years earlier than we did. I was in a on-again, off-again relationship with a woman for about 6 years. And I called Sally in one of those friendship phone calls, and we decided to take a meal together. And we had a nice conversation catching up. And I was saying to myself, I think maybe it's time to start this relationship with Sally, when Sally said to me, you know, I'm seeing somebody and I think the four of us ought to get together. And so that just took the wind out of my sails, and I didn't want to, you know, break into any relationship Sally was in. She later tells me she was just saying that.
Okay.
So.
All right. Let's turn this over to a more spiritual level right now. Anybody there? Any questions for
Sally,
anybody?
during commercial break, you told me I have a message, and
Who?
you said I have a message from Elizabeth.
Oh yes, I do.
What message would that be?
Okay, it left me. Let me see. I feel that you are doing, I don't know if this is the same message, but I feel that Elizabeth is part of your life, but she's showing herself as a fairy because you like fairies just like I do.
Yes.
With it. Okay, and she's calling herself Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell is saying, and this sounds crazy because I don't know even what I'm saying, but this is what I'm hearing, that you are doing something. Continue what you're doing. Your efforts are going somewhere. This is what I'm hearing right now. It's the same as what I said a few minutes ago. Continue. What you're doing and the advice that you're giving is not a waste of time, okay? It may seem that it is, but Tinkerbell, and she's wanting me to call herself Tinkerbell because you're going to relate to that, is saying don't give up. Continue with the advice. The outcome, and it's going to take a few months, but it will be, and this is very clear, the desired outcome, okay?
Thank you.
I won't remember anything, Dawn, if we
The
should
desired
discuss this.
outcome. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Freddie, how about your guides?
Anybody else? We have a little bit of, we still have
We got
time
plenty
left.
of time.
Oh dear.
You had a message.
Microphone. Microphone.
Margaret, the microphone.
You got a microphone?
Ask and you'll receive. Okay.
Just
what
pull
is-
the whole thing close to you.
Okay.
There you
Okay. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Sally. As we've known each other for so many, many years, a lot of things I didn't know about you other than what I saw when I was around you. And I've been hoping that I would meet somebody, but I think like when I'm listening to you now, I'm really not ready.
I wanted to say that to you, Margaret. I didn't know I don't know if you'd finished. No, because you have to get, in order for us to meet someone, and it doesn't matter, again, what time of our lives, we actually have to prepare ourselves a little bit. to be ready. I think that your journey, and I know you very well, so I can relate a lot to what you have been, this question. You weren't ready, but continue to work on yourself, be it another 5 months, a year. We don't want to leave it too long because we're not getting any younger. But I believe that there is I believe it's someone you used to know, and I think you know, we'll talk more about this, whom I'm talking about. Make that phone call, okay? Does that make sense to you?
I don't know who you're meaning.
Well, I don't want to mention any names on the air. Did we not know someone who made you a beautiful on your birthday one time, not that long ago? I don't remember his name. You've lost contact with him over the last few years.
Sally, as you know, I don't remember too much.
Oh my goodness.
So-
Okay, you need to make contact with him. I don't remember his
Well,
name,
you're
but
gonna
you
have to
did.
remind me because I really and truly don't know.
I will. Okay. You went to one of your birthday parties. He showed up with you? Okay, we'll talk about it later, Margaret. Okay. Okay.
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
This is Josh.
I know, I recognize your voice, Joe.
Okay. Just like a general question, I guess. Is there like a time frame when you, I guess, you know if it's the one, or is just like it's a certain gut feeling, I guess?
It's a gut feeling. We start putting time on it. No, there is no time. When you're ready, when, you know, as I can't remember exactly who asked the question, but when we work on ourselves, we're also working to find a relationship. There might be little things that we all have flaws. We all have certain things about us. When we choose to improve ourselves too, and the other person, I believe that you will come together with somebody. It's a work in progress, so to speak. So there's no time limit actually on it. It's when you're ready, and it also applies to the other person that you're meeting. When they're ready, then it will gel.
And then for another one, are long distance relationships a little harder to keep hold of? I guess because you don't have that bonding, moment. I guess that one-on-one attraction.
Well, yes, because people will say that it's hard to have a long distance relationship, but no, it's not impossible because you can still speak all the time. The vibrational energy that flows is what's really important. You have to come together with that person. You need to see that person. Obviously, a long distance relationship, if it went on for years, it's going to be a little difficult. But it's the vibrational energy that you exchange. That's what I'm hearing. It's very, very important. You feel it. When that person may call you or you call them, you're eager to talk. That's important if you feel that. It's not quite the same as being with someone.
If it's that vibrational energy, then if there's like certain, like, I guess if you want to call it signals or objects blocking that, how do you get rid of that little block then?
Well, sometimes the blocks are necessary because it might not, this is what's just coming to me, it might not be that person. So, but we can create our own blocks. If we're aware of that, but it still continues, let's say whatever it is, and you try to correct it and it's not correct, and I think you need to think about that.
Okay, I like that. Thank you, Sally. And then I got a question for Steve too. Any tips for young relationship people? Or people, yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, people in a young relationship.
Yeah, be careful of making the silly mistakes that we've all made during our lives in being selfish. Being in a relationship is about being giving and loving all the time. It's not about the one, it's about the couple.
I like that. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I think my show's going to be Steve's show today. I didn't know this about you.
Steve's words of wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know
See-
where that came from. Oh.
From your guide. That's what I say.
I feel like Steve can impart so much wisdom on the younger generation.
Absolutely.
Would you do it differently, Steve?
Would I do my life differently?
Yeah. I mean, just the man that you are, that you talked about now, that you're a different man with Sally.
Well, I think to get to the place where I am, emotionally and in all other respects. You have to do what I advise Josh not to do, and that's make mistakes. Making the mistakes all along life is your learning curve. So some people get to the end of their learning curve and become that person they need to be at 30, and some people at 50, and then others at 70. For me, I think it came later in life. I guess I just wasn't ready to stop making mistakes. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. Sally, we all learn from our mistakes, though, don't we?
We do, and I think actually this may sound silly, but we sometimes need to make the mistakes so that we can correct them, so that we don't carry it on to the next life. Sometimes these mistakes are important for us to realize what we're doing, learn by it, and then continue, because it's like karma. What comes to you, sometimes we're given a lot of stuff. We're given that to learn, but if you can keep that in perspective and say, well, this isn't great, but I can learn something from this. Let's try and take the positive attitude in something. It helps us catapult to another phase of our life, so to speak. So every time something bad may happen, and it happens to all of us, let's look at it slightly differently. Even from the mistakes are there for a reason. Let's not keep repeating them. When we see that we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over, we're not learning anything. They're there to make us learn. That makes sense.
A learned mistake is not a mistake, but something you learn from.
Well, it then becomes no mistake, because if you learn from it and you don't repeat it, then you've taken that out of your scenario. If you keep doing something over and over again, and what do they say about that when you say you keep making the same mistakes?
The definition of insanity.
Exactly, and that's exactly correct. Let's change it. The fact that we're aware of it, that's the most important part. You can't change something you're not aware of, but you keep making the same mistake,
When
right?
you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome.
It's not going to happen unless you're aware of that and you change that. So then we can say, okay, we'll put that over there. That's out of my karma for today. Let's do something else. We're not going to get everything right in one lifetime. I'm absolutely convinced of that. We will come back and repeat some of these things, but let's try and get rid of some of them.
Linda says, but hopefully we have to learn from our mistakes because we all make them.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Linda. We have to learn from our mistakes. Thank you for that. And thank you for the fact that you saw that, you know. We don't always recognize that, but it's important that we see that. Because even if it's not just one person, what we do sometimes has a reaction from several different people. Different people are at different stages in their life, but if we keep doing something, let's say, annoying to someone, the next person is going to find it annoying, and annoying because it's not just annoying to one person, it could be annoying to a lot of people. We need to take that out of ourselves, correct it, and then let's change it. It could be anything, actually, but let's be aware of it and try to change it if it keeps annoying people. We all have things that annoy. I'm sure I have plenty of things that annoy you. But make me aware of it and I'll change.
You annoy me?
Tell me and I'll try to change, but I'm aware of it then.
Oh, that's a key thing. Even if there were things that annoy me about you.
Me?
Yeah. What makes it work is I will totally overlook anything that might have been annoying to me in the past, and I just take it as it's a Sallyism.
Well, yeah, but on the flip side of that, you have to tell me, because although it may not annoy you that much, I need to know what I'm doing. So it might be a message for me, because I may not only be doing it with you. As I was just saying, I could be doing it with Margaret over there. Do I annoy you, Margaret?
No.
Okay, or Dawn or Freddie. But it's something that we repeat with several people. It's not just perhaps that one person, because we keep doing it. And to be aware of it is what's important.
Basically, those annoyances that might have annoyed one at an earlier stage become endearing qualities at a different stage.
Good point, because you are changing. We both change, not just me doing something annoying. You could be changing your attitude to what I'm doing to you, which
Exactly.
may not be that annoying, but it could be annoying to you.
You're annoying. No.
Sally, do you think that fear stops people from picking to learn from their mistakes?
Absolutely, Freddie. Fear absolutely does. Fear can rule our lives. We need to look at it from different points of view, not just fear. We need to see whatever the situation is, try to become positive where the fear is. And let's say out of this, maybe there is some good that's happening. I can't tell you that it's wrong to have fear. We need fear also so that we can recognize it and change it. But yes, your question was a good question. I hate this pause.
Well, we've mentioned before, and I'll restate it. We were brought together, we feel, through many sources, but one major one is I was not in a relationship when we met again, and I was looking through the one particular dating site. And it's a dating site that you had once been on, but had left and taken your picture down. Yet what do I find? Your picture. And by seeing your picture, said, I have to give Sally a call.
Yeah, I absolutely was only, just as a disclaimer, I was on that site for about 2 weeks and took myself off and said, this is too difficult. I don't want all these phone calls. But a couple of years later, you saw my picture, which I know I had taken down. They intervened.
And then when I went to show you your picture, we couldn't find it.
No, it was gone again. So they help us in many ways that we don't even realize. They do help us from above. I say above, they're actually all around us, and they're definitely here right now. Dawn, can you feel it?
Did you hear the door slam?
Huh?
Did you hear the door slam a few minutes ago?
Oh, no, I didn't, but I'm looking up there. Is it the one up there or outside?
They opened again, but they slammed closed.
Yeah,
about a half hour ago.
immediately, I didn't hear it, but I looked that way. Yes, of course they're here. They love this show.
What are your guides telling you about 2024?
Okay, a lot of change, good and bad. It's not going to be easy, especially the first part of the year. It's going to go from bad to worse. I hate saying this, and it's how we look at it, but what we're experiencing now, let's say, that is happening is going to continue into the new year. But if we could all come together, all of us, it's hard, but to look at life a little differently, because it's hard. It's obvious what's happening. So let's all pull together and try to change this. I've said this before. Give us positive thoughts to the world. I believe that the earth itself is an entity, and earth is not liking what's going on, just like many of us. We're all in this mess together. That's what they're telling me. We're in a mess. Let's try to change it. I can't predict, and I don't necessarily want to right now, what's going to happen in the future, but let's try to get out of this mess that we've all found ourselves in. Listening to the news over and over again doesn't help. We have to listen to what's going on, but it kind of brainwashes you, and you get worse and worse and worse as time goes by. Let's try lift our vibrational energy. I've just been told I'm at the 2-minute time, and but right now I've got 2 minutes to say this, and I think it's a good way to end. Let's try and lift our vibrational energy. Let's give love. Let's try towards world peace. It's easy to say, and it's what most of us actually want, but we can't achieve it. Let's try for it. Let's try.
Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you so
very
much.
Many,
And thank
many
you for
more
that
happy,
beautiful
healthy
cake.
years to you both.
Thank you, Dawn, and I can't wait to eat the cake.
Let them eat cake.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you next week. Well, Merry Christmas. Actually, it will be Christmas Day this time next week. Merry Christmas to everybody. Bye-bye. Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.